Have you ever stopped and really thought about what life might feel like when you're older, when the house is quiet, the kids have grown, the phone doesn't ring as often, and you suddenly realize, you're alone? No spouse beside you, no children down the hall, just you, your memories, and the silence. It's a thought that can make your chest feel heavy, isn't it? Because deep down, you know it's not just about being by yourself, it's about what comes with it. The quiet can feel endless. The days can start to blend into one another. And sometimes, that kind of loneliness can be harder to face than any illness. But here's the thing I want you to remember, being alone in your later years doesn't have to mean being unhappy, or forgotten, or without purpose. Loneliness in old age is very real. It can affect your mood, your health, and even how long you live. But there are ways to take back control, ways to fill your days with meaning, comfort, and joy, even if you're the only one in the room. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. In this video, I'm going to share with you simple but powerful things you can do when you find yourself growing old and left alone. Things that will keep your mind sharp, your heart light, and your spirit full of life. By the time we're done, you'll see that being alone doesn't have to feel like an ending, it can actually be a new beginning. But before we dive in, I want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments, would you describe yourself as someone who's independent, or do you lean on your loved ones a lot? And while you're here, don't forget to subscribe to Elderly Wisdom Tips, because this is where we talk honestly about aging, about health, and about finding strength in every stage of life. So, take a deep breath, settle in with me for the next few minutes, and let's talk about what to do when you grow old, and find yourself alone. Imagine this for a moment. You open your eyes in the morning, the house is quiet, there's no one calling your name, no sound of footsteps, no breakfast waiting on the table. Just silence. And without a plan for the day, the hours stretch out in front of you like a road with no end. That kind of emptiness can make even the strongest person feel small. This is where routine comes in. A simple daily routine can be your best friend when you're living alone. You see, the brain actually loves structure. Having a rhythm to your day gives you something steady to hold on to, something that tells your mind and body, yes, I still have purpose, I still have direction. Now, I know what you might be thinking, a routine? That sounds boring. Why would I want to live every day the same way? But here's the truth, routines aren't about making life dull, they're about making life easier. They protect you from the anxiety of wondering, what do I do now? They help your body feel calmer. And more importantly, they give your mind a sense of order, which can be deeply comforting when the days feel long and quiet. The mistake so many people make is thinking they have to fill every single hour with something big. That's not what I'm saying. You don't need a complicated schedule, you just need little anchors that bring comfort and meaning. For example, you could start your morning with a short walk to get the blood flowing, or brew a cup of tea at the same time each day and make it your moment of peace. Maybe in the evenings, you end the day with a favorite book, or even write down one thought or memory in a journal. These small habits may not sound like much, but together they create rhythm. They turn an empty day into a day with structure. And when you wake up tomorrow, you won't feel like you're drifting, you'll know exactly where to start, and that makes all the difference. But remember, a routine is just the foundation. It keeps your day steady, but it's not enough on its own. Because what really keeps your spirit alive isn't just structure, it's connection. Because you can have the best routine in the world, but if you spend every single day in silence, it can still feel like something is missing. Think of Mrs. Thompson, a widow in her 70s. For years, she spent her days alone at home, her TV playing in the background just to fill the quiet. Then one day, she decided to visit her local community center. At first, she only went once a week. But before long, those visits became the highlight of her days. She met people who understood her, shared laughs, played games, and even found herself looking forward to conversations again. Just those few hours a week erased the heaviness of her silence. You see, human beings are wired for connection. Social interaction doesn't just make you smile, it actually keeps your mind sharper, lowers your risk of depression, and even helps you remember things better. Loneliness, on the other hand, can be as harmful to your health as smoking or poor diet. That's how powerful relationships are. But here's a mistake I see many people make: they think that connection only counts if it's face-to-face. That's not true. In today's world, virtual connections can be lifelines. A simple video call with a friend, a Facebook group where people your age share stories, or even a quick text message can make you feel seen and heard. Don't underestimate how much warmth can travel through a phone screen. So what can you do? Start small. Join a local senior group, a walking club, or maybe a community choir. If leaving the house feels hard, join an online forum, reconnect with old friends on social media, or pick up the phone and call someone you haven't spoken to in years. Sometimes one conversation can brighten your whole week. Because at the end of the day, connection isn't just about having company. It's about being reminded that you matter, that your voice is still heard, and that you're still part of something bigger than yourself. But let me say this: connection with others is only one part of the puzzle. Because if you're not connected with yourself, your body, your health, your well-being, then all the friendships in the world won't fill that gap. And that's what we're going to dive into next. I once met a gentleman who told me something that broke my heart. After his wife passed, he stopped caring about meals. He said, "Cooking for one just isn't worth it." At first, it seemed harmless, just skipping here and there. But months later, his health began to decline. Not because of any major illness, but simply because he gave up on himself. And sadly, this is something so many people go through when they find themselves alone. When you're by yourself, it's easy to let your health slip away little by little. Maybe you eat less because there's no one to share dinner with. Maybe you stop exercising because you don't see the point. Or maybe you delay that doctor's appointment because you think, what difference will it make? But the truth is, neglecting your health only makes the loneliness heavier, and it shortens the time you could be living fully and joyfully. Here's what I want you to hear clearly: you are never too old to benefit from self-care. This is one of the biggest misconceptions I see: people saying, "At my age, it's too late to make a difference." That couldn't be further from the truth. Even the smallest habits can add comfort, strength, and years to your life. Think about it. A balanced meal gives your body the energy it needs to face the day. Light physical activity, something as simple as stretching in your chair, or a short walk around the block, keeps your joints moving and your heart stronger. Staying hydrated sharpens your mind and reduces fatigue. Regular checkups catch problems early, so you don't face bigger challenges later. And don't forget mental care. Writing in a journal, practicing deep breathing, praying, or even listening to calming music can ease the weight on your heart. These aren't luxuries, they're essentials. They're small acts of kindness you give yourself. Because when you take care of your body, you send yourself a powerful message: I am worth the effort. I still matter. And here's the beauty: when you treat your health as a priority, you don't just add years to your life, you add life to your years. You create energy, strength, and clarity that allow you to enjoy the days ahead, no matter who is sitting at the table with you. But health, as important as it is, isn't the full picture. Because while your body needs care, your soul also craves something deeper: purpose. And that's exactly what we'll talk about next. I remember a retired teacher who once told me something that stuck with me. After leaving the classroom, she felt lost. Her days felt empty, like she'd been cut off from the very thing that gave her life meaning. But then she started reading stories to children at the local library twice a week. She said it gave her a reason to wake up excited every morning. Suddenly, her life wasn't about what she had lost, it was about what she could still give. And that's the truth about purpose. It doesn't always have to be some big, world-changing achievement. Purpose simply means having something to look forward to. A reason to get up, get dressed, and face the day with energy. It could be something small, but if it makes you feel alive, then it matters. Too often, people believe hobbies, volunteering, or little projects are just distractions. But they're not distractions at all. They're lifelines. They're what keep loneliness from turning into despair. When you pour your time into something meaningful, you stop counting the hours and start living them. So ask yourself, what brings you joy? Maybe it's painting, knitting, or tending to a small garden. Maybe it's sharing wisdom with younger generations, mentoring, or even helping a neighbor with something simple. Each of these acts, no matter how small, gives you dignity, joy, and a sense that your presence in this world still matters. Because it does. Your value doesn't disappear just because you're older, or because you find yourself alone. You still have gifts inside you, stories to share, kindness to give. And when you tap into that purpose, you'll notice that the loneliness starts to feel lighter, because your heart has something bigger to hold on to. But let me tell you this, finding purpose is powerful, yes. Yet perhaps the most powerful tool you will ever have when you're alone is something even more personal, learning to truly enjoy your own company. And that's where we're headed next. I once spoke with a widow who shared something very raw with me. She told me that after her husband passed, the nights were the hardest. She would cry herself to sleep almost every evening, surrounded by silence that felt heavier than any weight she had ever carried. But with time, she found small ways to cope. She started journaling her feelings, writing them down so they wouldn't sit bottled up inside. She leaned into prayer, finding comfort in her faith. And slowly, she began to see the quiet not as emptiness, but as a space of peace. That's what emotional resilience is all about. It's not about pretending the pain doesn't exist. It's about learning to face it, and then finding strength in the middle of it. When you build emotional resilience, you accept change instead of fighting it. You cope with grief instead of being swallowed by it. And eventually, you find a way to feel content, even in solitude. Now, there's a misconception many people carry, that happiness in old age depends entirely on having family around. And yes, family presence is beautiful, but it's not the only path to peace. The truth is, your inner strength, your ability to nurture your own mind and spirit, can carry you further than constant companionship ever could. It's that strength that will hold you steady when the house is quiet, when the phone doesn't ring, when the days feel longer than they used to. So how do you build that kind of resilience? Sometimes it starts with gratitude journaling, writing down 3 small things you're thankful for each day, even if it's just a warm cup of tea or the sound of birds outside your window. Meditation can help calm your racing thoughts and teach you to breathe through the hard moments. Prayer can give comfort to the soul, reminding you that you're never truly alone. And something as simple as listening to calming music can turn silence into serenity. These practices don't erase loneliness, but they change how you carry it. They help you transform it from something heavy into something you can reflect on, learn from, and even grow with. And when you combine resilience with the steps we've already talked about, routine, connection, health, and purpose, you don't just survive old age. You create a life that still feels meaningful, joyful, and deeply worth living, even when you're alone. It's never easy to think about growing old without loved ones nearby. The silence can feel heavy, almost pressing down on your chest. The memories of those you've lost can be bittersweet, comforting on one hand, but painful on the other. Some days, you may feel like you're surrounded more by ghosts of the past than by the people of the present. And that reality can be heartbreaking. But here's the truth I want you to hold close: being alone does not mean being forgotten. Your story doesn't end just because the people who used to fill your days are no longer there. In fact, solitude can be a chance. A chance to rediscover yourself in ways you never imagined. A chance to nurture your health, to sharpen your mind, to explore your passions, and to live with a sense of freedom that's all your own. Instead of looking at the silence as emptiness, what if you looked at it as space? Space to breathe, space to create, space to remember, and space to still grow. Because growth doesn't stop when you get older. You still have wisdom to share, lessons to pass down, and moments of joy waiting for you. But don't just listen, act. Call an old friend today. Take a short walk and feel the air on your face. Write down one memory in a notebook. Pick up that book you've been meaning to read, or start a new hobby, no matter how small. The tiniest step forward has the power to make tomorrow brighter than today. And when the loneliness feels overwhelming, remember this: loneliness is real, yes, but so is resilience. The same strength that carried you through the hardest seasons of your life is still within you. You are never truly alone when you carry wisdom, love, and hope inside of you. They are your companions, your guiding light, and your reminder that even in solitude, your life still holds meaning. So if you take nothing else away from this, let it be this: your presence in this world still matters. You are still here. You are still needed. And your days, no matter how quiet, are still worth filling with light. Today we've walked through 5 powerful ways to live with strength and joy, even in seasons when you find yourself alone. We talked about the importance of creating a daily routine, a structure that keeps your mind calm and your day steady. We explored staying socially connected, whether through community, neighbors, or even friendships online. We reminded ourselves that health and self-care are not luxuries, but lifelines that keep the body and mind strong. We uncovered the beauty of finding meaning and purpose, no matter how simple or small it may seem. And finally, we spoke about strengthening emotional resilience, learning to turn loneliness into peace, and silence into reflection. But now, I want to hear from you. Which of these steps do you believe makes the biggest difference? Is it the comfort of routine, the joy of connection, or the quiet strength that comes from resilience? Or perhaps you've discovered your own tip, something personal that has helped you navigate these years with grace and hope. Share it in the comments below, not just for me, but for everyone listening. Your story might be the very encouragement someone else needs today. If this message spoke to your heart, if you found even one piece of advice that you can carry forward, I invite you to like and subscribe to Elderly Wisdom Tips. This is a place where we share not just information, but encouragement. A place where seniors, caregivers, and families can learn together, grow together, and find hope together. Thank you for sharing this time with me today. Remember, no matter where you are, your life holds value. Your presence matters. Your story is still unfolding, and it is still worth telling. Stay strong, stay hopeful, and never forget, you carry within you the strength of every moment you've already overcome. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.